Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to all of our alumni joining us. Welcome. My name is Greg Leparati. I'm Associate Director of Alumni Relations here at Baruch College. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Zooming from Queens in New York. Feel free to hop on the chat and tell us where you're Zooming from. It's been pretty amazing to see at our events over the last couple months, people telling us where they're coming from, and it's all over the country, all over the world. We've had people from Spain, Europe, China, everywhere. So it's been really fascinating to see. Put in the chat where you're Zooming from. Also curious to know what sport you played when you were at Baruch. Feel free to put down in the chat what you played. We can't wait to see all the different types of former student athletes here today. That being said, a few quick ground rules. If you want to leave your camera on, you can. We love to see people's smiling faces, but please mute your audio because we don't want any ambient noise getting in the way of our speakers. That being said, I'd like to now kick it off to the two alumni who really helped to spearhead the creation of this network, Yi Fang and Marlon Samwaru.
Hello, everybody. It's so nice to see all of you guys. It's crazy how, like, when this first idea came up, we were all looking for a community, whether it was to just play games online or learn a new skill. And for us, it was really to who better else to connect and reunite with than our fellow Bearcats and teammates. So let's get started. I'm so glad you guys are all joining. And like Greg said, we do encourage you guys to keep your cameras on and no worries about how you look, because let's be real, as student athletes, we have seen each other at our grossest and sweatiest. So you guys are all good. And we would just like to see all your smiley faces. And for anyone that's planning, I know some people message about hopping on or off. Don't worry, you can join whenever you want. And this event is going to run from about 6 to 7. So without further ado, let's get this kicked off. Cool. So I would just like to give you guys a face to the people who have been messaging you guys. I know some of you guys have never met us before and you're just like, who is this person messaging me on LinkedIn or emailing me? Well, my name is Yi Chang Pong and I graduated from Baruch in 2019. I swam for 4 years and was a captain my last 2. And I graduated with a marketing management degree and currently work at McCann Health, a pharmaceutical ad agency. So with all that being said, I can hands down tell you that I am a very, very proud Bearcat. Representing Bearcats, competing, whether in sports or academically, was always incredibly fun for me, and all my best memories of college came from being involved in both a student and an athlete. And to be honest, the reason why I knew it was very important to reach out to everybody is simply because I faced some pretty tough challenges with the transition from dropping a role that was so important to me, both mentally and physically, and I know how tough it can be. So I would do anything I can to help all of you guys to make sure that as Bearcats, we are still lifting each other up, even though we may not be competing anymore.
So for those of you that may have never seen me before, I'm Marlon, and I've also been posting things on the LinkedIn group and probably messaging you, asking you to join this random thing. And yeah, so I was on the swim team as well, 4-year member. I was a captain my last year, just like he was. I studied economics and math, and I'm currently an analyst on a data science team at Worldwide, which is like a marketing agency. Part of the reason that this is really important to me is that I had quite a gap between my graduation to when I started working, and I really hope that someone within the group, whether it be a current student athlete or an alum, can really find the guidance and kind of like the community that they may need, whether it's a transition in a professional role or out of college or anything of that nature. I'm just hoping that the culmination of so many different people can really be help build a strong community for all of us.
Cool. And I just wanted everyone here to know that Marla and I definitely couldn't have done this without a lot of help, both from Baruch Athletics and Baruch Alumni. I will get to Baruch Alumni in a quick sec. But for those of you that are currently at Baruch, you guys know who these three amazing faces are. We have Heather, who has been with Baruch, appointed since 2016, and is the first female director of athletics since the 48 years Baruch has had an athletic department. So kudos to Heather. Also couldn't have done it without John Nevis, who has single-handedly been handling all of social media and helping us get the word out about this event. And Carrie Thomas, who has literally always done everything for us and has helped us send out emails, reaching out to the current student athletes. And seriously, without these three folks, we couldn't have put this event together. So I would like to hand the mic over to Heather, who has a few remarks for you guys.
Thanks, Yi. Thanks, Marlon. Thanks, Greg. Good evening, Bearcats, and welcome to the first event of Baruch Athletic Alumni Network. I trust you and your families are healthy and enduring this very unprecedented time in your own way. I, for one, have used the time to reflect on connections. Connection to self-care time, family, old and new friends, and very important Bearcat alumni such as yourself. I would like to publicly thank Yi and Marlon for dreaming up this idea and for them willingly working in collaboration with Greg Leparati, Assistant Director of Alumni Relations, to put this event together, and hopefully more to come in the future. I think now more than ever, connection to each other and sharing is what's getting us all through this time, and so looking forward to more of these sort of events. I'd just like to take a few minutes to give a brief statement, kind of like of the department, the state of the department, to tune you into what's been happening since March 17, 2020, from our perspective, and some possible movement going forward so you can get a pulse on where we're at and what's happening. And so when we left campus in March, we, the staff, Carrie, John, Erin's on as well, everybody collaboratively, had to mobilize quickly to ensure that our student athletes, hopefully some of them are at this event tonight, had a seamless transition as humanly possible. We set out to support them in whatever way they needed as the days passed with major fluidity as we all adjusted to life, essentially. We set up Zoom meetings, had a few SAC meetings, some focusing on specific topics such as careers in this new world. I personally attended several team Zooms to try to lessen the anxiety of the what ifs as it related to academic challenges with the online platform, financial challenges, and some most importantly, some most importantly, eligibility, both forthcoming and exhausted. As did my team. We all chipped in. It's a team effort, and everyone, basically did what they needed to do to kind of support the student athletes. And we want to extend that now. Now that we have this alumni platform, we want to extend that as well to you all in whatever way that we can support you during this time. Fast forward to today, obviously a lot has changed, but we remain hopeful that we'll get our student athletes back on campus come January. But for now, we must maintain the guidelines for health and safety standards, and given the in-depthness of all of it, we would be unable, like every other conference, to pull them off without risk. So while we're saddened by this news and information, we definitely don't want to put anybody's life or health at risk by coming back too soon, and we've seen that across the country, and so we're opting not to participate in that. For now, the fall championships for NCAA are canceled, and there are talks about possibly moving the fall teams to the spring. For us, it would be a huge undertaking and challenge, yet not out of the question. Funding, testing and tracing, and facilities will be our biggest hurdle to try to overcome. Yet we'll continue to look to the future with a positive outlook and prepare a fall student athlete engagement plan to continue to build bonds with our student athlete population. We hope to marry some of that plan with this group, hence my remarks. I'm happy to have conversations with anybody who, might have a great idea and an injection, because as you know, as former student athletes and possibly some current student athletes on here, It's what we do. It's in our DNA, to be a teammate, to help, to lift, to rise. And so anything that we can do to help each other, I'm all for that, and happy to have a conversation. I'm hoping that tonight everyone will have a good event, and I look forward to the programming that Yi and Marlon and Greg have prepared. And I just want to say, stay safe, stay strong, and you're a Bearcat. Once a Bearcat, always a Bearcat.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Heather. I think Carrie couldn't hop on, but John, if you want to unmute yourself and say hi to everybody. I'm sure you know some of the folks that are on.
Hi, could you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you, John.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'm outdoors.
Okay.
Yeah, very glad to, first off, great job, E and Marlon, for doing this. Greg for getting it together. And it's good to see a lot of familiar faces on the call and a lot of familiar names. I think this is a very good idea. For as long as I've been at Baruch, I know there's been 1 or 2 attempts at it. But it wasn't as organized, I think, as what we have tonight. So, you know, and I think the enthusiasm you have, Yi and Marlon, it's been incredible. So I'm looking forward to this. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, awesome. And now our last welcome is to Baruch Alumni Relations. Unfortunately, Janet couldn't be here, but we do have Greg with us today. And Greg has been helping us, holding our hands throughout this entire event organizing process. So please welcome Greg.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. So glad to have you all here today. So much thanks to Yi and Marlon for helping to spearhead the creation of this group. Over the last few years, Janet Rossback and I have been working with Heather in the athletics department to build the athletics alumni network and to get everyone together we have an annual alumni event, generally in January, around a basketball doubleheader between the men's and the women's and the men's. And we've been getting more and more alumni every year, and it's been fantastic to see that in-person event grow. You know, now this year, that looks like a pretty unlikely scenario. We don't know yet for sure, but yes, and as Heather mentions, as well as swimming breakfasts, yep, the same day. So we had that in-person event, which was fantastic. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do that this year, though. Everything is so fluid, but online is allowing us the possibilities to grow our networks in other ways. And so we're really excited that Yi and Marlon had this idea, because it really dovetails with what we've been trying to do over the last few months, ever since we've been living under this pandemic. And in particular, this network is going to focus on professional development. And as Marlon and Yi pointed out, there's a LinkedIn group. There's hope that Bearcats can share different job opportunities and guidance. And something that we're very interested in here in Alumni Relations is fostering a mentoring type community, whether it's alum to alum or alum to students. And so as Heather mentioned, we hope to involve the alumni of this network and other athletics alumni with students in a more robust way in the years ahead, to get some mentoring components, as well as alum to alum. And our office is looking to launch some alumni to alumni mentoring in the fall. And this network of athletics alumni is definitely high on that priority list. We hope to establish some of those connections. And so this event is a great way to meet some other athletics alumni. And we're gonna do some breakout rooms later for people to meet one another. And for alumni from all different generations to meet. Because student athletes, you guys are a special network. You guys have special, there are characteristics that only you guys understand. Whether from competing while you were a student, the whole camaraderie of teammates, winning, losing on the field. You guys all have that in common. And so that's what makes this network so special. And it's why we really can't wait to watch this network grow. So thanks so much for coming to us with this idea, Yi and Marlon. Thanks so much to Heather and her team for always being such great collaborators. And thank you to our alumni who are here today. We're really excited to watch this network grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg, and couldn't agree with you more. All right, so with that, let us talk to you guys about what we've been brainstorming these last couple of months and what we hope to build out of this network.
Yeah, so Greg touched on quite a few points and basically the core of our mission statement. So we're really looking to kind of build that gap between the alumni, whether it be someone who's graduated 10 years ago or someone who graduated a month ago, and the people who are currently at Baruch, meaning our student athletes. We really do feel that there's a kind of a win-win relationship to be had between that interaction. For the student athletes, it's very obvious and very straightforward, right? Like you're in a place right now where you're trying to figure out, what do I do next? What happens when I graduate? How do I find a job? How do I apply for jobs? All these things, it's a mess in your head. Whereas the alumni who have been through it all already, or been through quite a bit of it, have some of those answers and could definitely provide some of that guidance. And some of you may have seen, I may be slightly getting ahead of myself, but some of you may have seen the mentorship form that was sent out a little while ago. And an overwhelming number of those responses were, I want to get back to student athletes. So it's not to say that once you graduate, you forget about Baruch and school and athletics and all of that, because we all spend so much time dedicated to our sports and our teammates, and whether it be like taking classes together and then studying together, or just like all those endless practices that we've all been through. There's something to be had in common with each and every one of us, and kind of what we're trying to build out of this network is emphasizing on that relationship. So over the past 16 years, going back to 2006, there's been about 1,270 unique student athletes. So a lot of you are wondering, how do you know this? Well, the Baruch website is very amicable to a little bit of code. So I was able to get quite a bit of information. That's more or less how we found everyone on LinkedIn. So this only goes back to 2006. So this number is definitely a lot larger, considering Baruch Athletics has been around for almost 50 years now. One thing that we did find is that a lot of our athletes that graduated 10, 12 years ago are hard to find online and hard to find on LinkedIn. But we found that with a little bit of help from the people who have joined our LinkedIn group, and thank you all for that, we've definitely had a lot of old teammates who are reconnecting through this group and kind of finding each other. So a lot of people who are in the group, we didn't necessarily find ourselves. Some people were just like getting in touch with their old teammates, and now we're at our LinkedIn group, which has about 290 members and 161 pending. So if you've invited someone recently and they haven't joined the group yet, maybe send them a text and say, hey man, what are you waiting for? So this group is fairly quiet at the moment, but it's also very new, right? Don't be shy. So if you see someone in the member list and they work at a company that you're interested in, part of the reason they're in the group is to help and also to learn from each other. So if you want to reach out, feel free. All it takes is a hi, I go to Baruch, I know you did too, we were both athletes, I'm curious about this. It really doesn't take much to build a connection that can possibly be really beneficial for the both of you. For our alumni who are currently in the group, if you're wondering, how can I get involved? I don't necessarily need a job. Well, if you work at a company and although even with COVID times, I know companies are starting to hire again. If there's an opportunity that you see in your company that is something that you want to share with your whole alumni network, then feel free to post it. I know one of our previous alums, Vinny, who was on the volleyball team, he shared something recently, and that was really exciting for me and you, because we're like, yes, this is exactly what we want people to do. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be scared to reach out, and don't feel afraid to share any opportunities that you may have.
Marlon, quick aside, hate to interrupt you for a second, but just on LinkedIn, a recommendation I have for all of our alumni, don't be afraid to ask for informational interviews or coffee chats with fellow alumni. In fact, that's one of the best ways to go about it for networking on LinkedIn, because, reaching out just when you want a job or something is really not the best method of doing it. But building those connections by trying to, learn about the industry or talk about your shared experiences at Baruch are definitely the way to go. And our alumni are super amenable to that. So just a quick tip there from alumni relations perspective.
Yes, totally agree with you. And guys, this is not to say that we will only be sticking to LinkedIn. We're totally open to gathering in different platforms, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram. Like, I know social media is an on and growing thing, so this is just the beginning. And this slide is really just a quick little insight into where our fellow alumni are currently working. And honestly, as we've connected with alumni from every team, every year, there are so many of us that are in unique positions and companies that I think we are missing out by not connecting with each other and learning more, because let's be real, our careers are always changing. There's always more to learn. So this is me encouraging you guys to do that.
Okay, so one main question is, where is this going to go? So we've touched on a little bit of this throughout the presentation thus far. As Greg mentioned, our main focus here is going to be professional and career development. So whether it be at networking events, don't necessarily consider this a networking event, but networking events in the future, or asking for resume help and kind of learning about your industry, whether you be in finance or any type of data analytics or communications, marketing. There's so much that people come out of athletics do, and there's so much to learn. And hopefully moving forward, we can start working on some more focused workshops, which would be really, really interesting in my opinion. And hope that works out.
Yep. And then adding to that, like we mentioned earlier, our initial plan was this was a mentorship program, but more coming there. We plan to launch this in fall 2020, so please be on the lookout. And also, quick note, if you haven't already done so, we're sharing around a link where you can write your name and your email so that we can reach you guys. So linking back to this mentorship program, when we launch this, we would love to be able to connect with all of you and gauge your interest and encourage you all to apply, because there's always so much to learn by building a more one-to-one connection with each other and mentoring someone who may have been in your shoes in the past. And then we would also love to plan social events, of course, once COVID is over and we can safely meet in person. But we have all been student athletes. We know how to work hard just as much as we know how to play hard. So we would love in the future, whether it's attending Baruch games together, showing more support at Baruch, attending our annual Alumni Day that happens every year in January, or just regular social gatherings that, you know, I'm open to every suggestion, especially if we're in New York. It would be incredibly nice to meet in person and just build more relationships with each other. Cool. And so now is a fun part. We brought together 4 very, very amazing alumni, and we brought them together because they each came from a very different background, very different graduation years, sports played, career path, and we thought it would be a really good idea to give you guys just a little snippet of 4 individual alumni who can offer so much to you guys, even though you may have never met them. So without further ado, I would love to introduce Debbie Lee, Miguel Malave, Caitlin Vicas, and Edgar Acero. If you guys can unmute yourselves.
I think when they speak, they'll feel it.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
I wish I saw more beautiful faces, but you know, I can only see one panel. You want me to kick off the intros?
Yes, please introduce yourself to everybody.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Debbie. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I just graduated Baruch this pandemic year. So while I competed in cross country for 2 years, and then I did 4 years of swimming. So I could speak to the student athlete experience very well. I majored in economics, and I was kind of on the route of going into banking, but then I kind of turned around this last 6 months and changed careers in many ways, even though I didn't graduate yet. So I can talk to you a lot about that and offer you any advice of kind of transitioning into full-time in, you know, an economic crisis. But yeah, happy to connect with you guys and talk to you. So I'm gonna hand it off to Miguel now.
Do we have Miguel up?
Where is he?
We would give him a second. Kate, if you want to introduce yourself, you can kick us off.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Kate. I graduated in December of 2018. I played softball all 3 years and I played volleyball my freshman year. And I was also heavily involved in SAC. When I graduated, I was president of Baruch SAC as well as of Keeniac SAC. So I definitely did a lot around Baruch athletics. It was a great experience. I graduated with a business degree in marketing analytics. And I'm currently working for Geico Corporate as a business strategy analyst. So it's a little bit different than what I got my degree in. It's not marketing. It's still business though. And it's different than what I interned in and what I had some experience in. So that was a fun kind of pivot. And I'm also working in DC, which was a different experience going from living in New York, and everyone I kind of knew and had networked with was in New York, and I made the transition down to DC. So if anybody has any questions about moving or kind of pivoting, I'm here to help.
Thank you, Kate. And we have Edgar.
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Edgar. I'm the old one of the group, class of 2009. So that's a while back. But, thank you so much for having me. Before I tell you a little bit about myself, I definitely want to thank G and Marlon for inviting me. They contacted me via LinkedIn a couple of months ago, and it was really cool to hear that they were doing this. Since 2009, I've fallen off a little bit in my conversations with the alumni. So it's really cool to see what they're doing. And it's great to see John. I haven't seen John in years. So seeing John is the highlight of my day. Sup, John? It's been a while since I saw you. And, G said, I played soccer.
Good to see you.
It's great seeing you, man. It's great seeing you. I played at Baruch for 2 years, and then I played at community college for 2 years before then. So I played 4 years, but only 2 at Baruch. I got my degree in business journalism. Halfway through marketing, I realized that I didn't like it, so I just kind of switched halfway through it. I graduated with that degree, and then I ended up working in sports, and now I work in for FC Bayern Munich. It's for those of you who don't know, it's a German soccer club that plays Champions League soccer. They have an office here in New York, so I'm very fortunate to work there. And through my career, I've been able to work in sports in different capacities with the Lakers, the Dodgers, the LA Galaxy, and primarily after I graduated with Major League Soccer. And that has been a really fun experience because I play soccer, I coach soccer, so to have my career and that being in sports, especially as a student athlete, that was awesome. So I can give a little bit of, being the old one of the group, I can give a little bit of the path that took from being a Baruch student athlete and a Baruch graduate into, having a professional life and growing old, I guess.
Oh my goodness. Okay, you have so much wisdom to offer all of us, and we're so happy to have each and every one of you guys here. And as you guys can tell, we come from such different backgrounds, have such different ambitions, that this is just the beginning. So before I kick off with some questions, I just want to let all of you guys know the comment box is open to you guys. If you guys ever think of any questions, feel free to just send it out and we can pose it to our guest speakers. Cool. So let's get started. Unfortunately, I don't think Miguel was able to make it, but we have 3 amazing speakers here, so we'll keep moving with that. So the first question we have for you guys is, what do you feel was the most worthwhile lesson you learned in sports, and how are you able to apply it to your careers? Who wants to take it first?
Edgar, I think you should go. You have the most wisdom.
Sorry, you cut off a little bit. Can you repeat the question? I will go, but
yeah, totally fine. What was the most worthwhile lesson you learned in sports, and how have you been able to apply it to your career?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So for me, when it comes to sports, I was always a very nervous kid. So playing soccer always kind of got me a little bit out of my shell. By the time I hit college, it was like a different experience, and I became a little bit more extroverted, as you guys can probably tell. But what sports helped me to do, and that I was able to apply throughout my career, was being able to prepare and visualize. So before games, we're very big on obviously, going to practice, going these things, but I know a lot of people in this call can relate to, putting headphones on getting inside yourself a little bit, preparing whether it's a swim that you're gonna do, or you're gonna play basketball, you're gonna play soccer, kind of like getting that mindset. I apply that in my career every day, whether it's a meeting, whether it's an interview, whether it's a call, something that we're doing at work. That's something that I always practice, you know, preparation, visualization is always that I do. And I also think that sports are very honest about revealing what your strengths and weaknesses are. So for example, in soccer, as John knows, I was never the fastest, or I was never the strongest or the tallest. And the sport was very honest with me about that, because I had some amazing athletes play next to me. But fortunately, I was technically gifted when it came to soccer. I grew up in Colombia, so you know we all play soccer over there. So that was great. But I was one of those guys that the coach could rely on to use in terms of versatility. So like I was one of the only guys throughout my 2 years that could play defender, could play midfield, could play forward. He would never put me as goalie, which is great. But besides that, it was all over the field that I would be able to provide some kind of a help with the team and be able to work as a whole. So that has been very helpful in my career now, because the office where I am, for example, for Bayern, it's a very small company, and I'm a senior content manager, but we do events, we do marketing, we do PR, and there's so many different things that you're doing. So to be able to wear different hats is something that I feel that I learned actually in the soccer field, and I've been able to apply in my career now.
Amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna definitely add on. So being honest about your strengths and weaknesses is definitely important. So throughout my career, I wouldn't say I was talented in swimming whatsoever. I definitely started swimming and then stuck with it for the next 10 years. And I just learned the value of hard work. And sometimes hard work isn't met with success. So I think that the most worthwhile lesson for me is like being okay with failing and reframing how you react to failure. And this is very important when you go into your career, right? Some people may have the upper hand, they did the internships and they know what it is, the field that they're going into is about, but other people don't. And, you know, there's always a learning curve that comes with that. So there's this thing I always think about. So the CEO of Spanx, her name is Sarah Blakely. She tells people that the reason she's successful is because when she grew up, her father used to ask her one question, and it was like, what did you fail at today? And she would list all the things that she failed in, and then her father would high five her and congratulate her. I think that that's like a big part of your career. You fail a lot, you make a lot of mistakes, and that's a part of the learning process. So just reframing how you react to things and how you see it, and then moving forward with that is a lesson that I took from sports and brought into just my career, which I'm starting in 2 weeks. So yeah.
Yeah, I think to add on to that, a big thing that I learned through playing sports that I've definitely been able to apply to my career is having confidence in your abilities and whatever it is. If you're playing sports, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe that you can make the next play, you get the next ball, whatever it might be, then you're never going to succeed. That's something we know. You know, you have to have that positive mindset. And in the workplace as well, you have to believe in your ability. Even if you're doing something new, somebody asks you to jump on a different project, you change industries. I work in car insurance, which is crazy. It's not something I knew anything about, but you have to be able to be confident and be able to dive right in. And like Debbie just mentioned, bounce back from any mistakes that you make and learn, but still believe in yourself, not let your confidence be shattered, especially for any current students that are about to graduate. Being young and being a young professional, it's hard. I'm one of the youngest people in the department. I'm definitely the youngest person on my team. So it's hard to look at all those people around you who have so much more experience than you do in the industry or being a professional, whatever it might be. But it's really important just to hold on to that confidence piece and believe in yourself. And if you make a mistake, just kind of move on from it and learn.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely resonate with everything all of you guys said. All of our sports are incredibly tough, and especially for our swimmers that are in the group chat. I mean, in this meeting right now, like you definitely know what it's like when Charles says, "Stop breathing, go faster, and keep moving." So I'm like, I feel all of that. Kate, that was a good segue into our next question. So what was the biggest challenge for you guys transitioning from being a student athlete into graduation?
Because I knew I had a tough time, very tough time.
So I guess we can keep the same order, and Edgar can go first.
Right. Sure. So when I graduated, it was 2009, and that was in the middle of a recession, a very bad recession. A little bit of my history also is that when I came to Baruch, I had not a penny on me. So it was just really, like I was at the same time that I was playing sports, I was also working. I was also doing like a whole bunch of stuff. And to be able and to graduate in the middle of that, it was just a very scary experience because you never know. Like at least you know that you're going to school, that you have your group of friends, you have athletes that are, like you have a sport, you have some kind of structure. And then you finish the school and suddenly you're kind of like, what's next? Do I want to go for a master's? Do I want to, do I keep waiting tables and, doing stuff until I find something that's aligned with my career? So a lot of it is a little nerve wracking in terms of like what that next step is. And then for me, it was something that was difficult was, realizing that you no longer have a group that you're close with, really, like, because you have a team, you have a group. So suddenly you feel a little bit more on your own. Even though, like I still keep up with a lot of my friends from the soccer team, I'm never really, alone. The feeling is a little bit, it's a little bit different for sure. But, luckily, like things do work out. I mean, you do spend very good time, like whether it's sports, whether it's at school, whether it's taking your classes, you do prepare. And we touch upon the point of having confidence. And, like when you're confident in sports or when you're confident at school, you realize that you have a certain amount of training. So you're going to be able to surpass those things. But it doesn't mean that it's not difficult. And, I mean, it's a little bit cliche, but like everybody says, nothing we're having ever comes easy. So, like if the times are rough, that's a better time for you to like rise up and shine up. Unfortunately, I was able to find the right internships. I was able to keep the job that I had. And then eventually my love for soccer and what I did in terms of like my career, in terms of like journalism, merged, and I was able to develop a career with that, which was great. But at the beginning it can be a little bit scary.
Totally agree. Like kudos for you to making it through that period, which I'm sure could kind of resonate with where Debbie is right now, as I see it in your face, especially right now with COVID, right? Like you can never know what you're going to go through. And what we're hoping is like amidst everything, amidst recession, amidst this global pandemic, that you have a community who can come here, you can support you. I don't know, Debbie, if you want to share some thoughts on where you are with that.
Yeah, so definitely going through the similar wave of emotions that Edgar went through. Luckily, I'm doing a Venture for America, which is like a 2-year fellowship after you graduate, and I secured that early on. So I definitely understand what everyone's going through, but not really directly impacted by that. I think the biggest challenge in transitioning in this specific time is taking care of yourself. If you just run, it's funny because that interview question that people say, it's like, where do you see yourself in the next year, or 3 years, 5 years from now? I bet nobody would have answered that we're gonna, go through a pandemic. So I think when you look at everything that's happened with COVID, the economy, the job market, police brutality, and I can go on. I think you have to take a step back sometimes and reevaluate how you're feeling and be honest with yourself. You're not, in all honesty, like you're not going to apply to one job and then get the offer right away. It takes a lot of getting rejected, and it takes a lot of getting back up. So I would say take care of yourself, do a face mask, talk to a friend, all of those things, meditate. Those are the gems right there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to graduate about a year before all this started. So I've been in the same job since I think probably 4 months after graduation. But I definitely think about it a lot. What if I was graduating right now and looking for the job? Because it's definitely an entirely different environment, but it's not something I can personally speak to. I think just going back to the original question being what's the biggest challenge in transitioning? For me, it's finding that work-life balance. It's definitely a hard thing to grab onto, and especially even more now being at home. Similar to Edgar, I had, in addition to being an athlete and a student, taking full-time credits and playing sports, I also was working full-time in a restaurant. So I had like a very solid schedule, and I was always involved, and being with SAC and everything, all my time was accounted for. And I love that. So at work right now, it's not something you want to take home. I don't want to work like 60, 80 hours a week, but for me, I have a hard time sometimes drawing that line in the sand, just because I'm used to, with sports, especially with your teammates, you're kind of always part of the team. Even if you're not at practice, you're not in the field, you're out together, you're hanging out together, you kind of work and play together. So with work, it's hard for me to sometimes draw that line. It's something I'm still learning to do.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for sharing. And they're definitely all very personal experiences, as everyone goes through different challenges and finds their own way to kind of make it through. In the interest of time, we will be asking one more question. And so we do have some current student athletes online, not just alumni. So for you guys, what would be your best advice to current student athletes right now at Baruch?
I guess I'll start since we're going that route.
You're rocking it, Edgar.
Yes. Okay. So for current students, yeah, I would say don't get discouraged. I know times are tough right now, and there's gonna be, and I mean, whether it's now in 5 years or how it was before, there's gonna be tough times. And we can always make the comparisons to games when you're down 4-0 or when you're losing something. Like, either way, there's gonna be a tough time coming to you. I'll say don't get discouraged, because somewhere the opportunity is gonna come along for you to be able to do what you want to do. And that's something that and I tell you, don't be discouraged, because I was discouraged. I was very discouraged when I finished school. So like, I can relate to that feeling of being a student and not really knowing where things are gonna go. Just kind of believe, because you don't know where the opportunity is gonna come from. Like, particularly, for example, for me, I remember going to like events like this, like not online at that time, but like, like different lunches and speaker series, and everybody will always talk about networking and how networking is so important and everything like that. I never really thought that I was really good at it, but something that I was particularly okay at was reading articles about sports. And back in the day, like, there was no Twitter, no social media, not the way that it exists today. So I remember being like at work or being somewhere and reading articles. And I remember that journalists used to write their emails at the end, like at the end of ESPN stories or at the end of the stories, contact the writer here. I remember I made a list of all of those. And I started sending emails saying, hey, my name is Edgar Acero. I'm a senior at Baruch College. I just have one question for you. Sorry to bother you. How do I do what you do? And I sent like 200 of those messages. And I never considered myself good at networking. I didn't know that I was networking in a way. It wasn't just the usual, here's my card, here's my thing. I just didn't really know. I was just kind of curious. And then from those 200 emails that I sent, to be honest to God, one person replied. And that person's name, I still remember, it's Michael Lewis. He works for Soccer America, which is one of the publications. And he told me that there were internships available at Major League Soccer. And that's how I got into the business. So you never really know how you end up doing things. So, and at the time that I wrote that, I was just kind of desperate, kind of like, I just don't know what to do. I'm just gonna read soccer articles because I just don't want to apply for jobs. And that's kind of how it happened. So yeah, just don't get discouraged if things are not going well. The opportunity is gonna come if you're doing the right things.
I totally agree. So they always say that you only need one yes. And if you think about that, like, you send out 200 applications, that one person could be your dream job and you don't even know it. So Edgar, you're just great. You're leading this trail of wisdom. So I think my advice for athletes is to stop comparing yourself to everybody around you in this, social media, LinkedIn world where, everybody's like, thank you for congratulate. Like I just got an offer at Google or Facebook, and I think that oftentimes when you see those announcements, it kind of makes you feel discouraged. But you have to remember that your career is probably going to be a 60 plus a year career. So think of it like you have to take little steps in the same way that you would play a sport. You don't do a personal record in like one season, and you don't, win all your games in one season. So definitely stop comparing yourself to others, and, do a little every day, and give yourself a pat on the back for that. So.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think if I had to say one thing, it would just be honest. And this goes for whether you're looking for a job or you're trying to think about what you want to do, or networking. Something that I struggled with was with all the different networking events or the different opportunities you go to, different people you speak to. I tried to make myself fit into whatever position they're in, whatever company, whatever industry. And after a little bit, I realized that wasn't the best way to get there. So for me, is in a couple different parts. One was that I didn't know what I wanted to do. And once I was kind of honest with myself that, hey, I'm getting this degree in marketing, a business degree, but I'm not sure that I actually want to do marketing. I have no idea what I want to do. There's so many different possibilities. Once I kind of was honest with myself about that, it opened the door to a lot of different jobs and a lot of different positions and a lot of different people that I was able to speak to. And similar advice when it comes to networking, just be honest with what you're looking for if you do know. A personal example of, for me, I knew that when I graduated, I wanted to move to DC. That was just the next step for me. My last semester at Baruch, I had an internship with a small marketing agency in the city. And when it came near the end of that internship, near the end of my college career, I spent some time talking to my manager at that small agency. And he was really asking like, hey, what are you looking for? What do you want to do next? And I knew this conversation was coming. I kind of debated myself a little bit if, I wanted to say I want to stay in the city, see if you had any opportunities for me there. But I ended up going to that conversation, telling him that I was looking to move to DC, knowing that might close the door on a job offer with that agency, but I was hoping he'd be able to open the door for me in some other places. And it was definitely helpful. He was able to introduce me with people in the DC area, in the field I was looking for, in the marketing field I was looking to get into. So just be willing to be yourself and be honest with what you're looking for, and be honest to the people around you that you're talking to. You're not going to offend anyone just because you don't want to follow in their exact footsteps. And likely they'll be able to open doors for you to get to the next step of where you're trying to go.
Yeah, such good points. 100% agree with all of you guys. And this time is flying right now. Like you guys have shared such insightful experiences, and we are getting questions, but we also want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to meet each other. But I hope this discussion with our amazing 3 alumni starts giving you guys a thought starters of this is where it begins. Us having honest conversations with each other, bringing up tough conversations, getting to know each other, and just being able to be real with one another, because we all know we came from similar backgrounds. We all value teamwork and dedication to what we do. So I really hope this was insightful for you guys to kind of just learn more about these 3 amazing people. So yes, we thank you guys so much for joining. And now for another fun part of this presentation, we would like to break this group out into rooms. And listed on the slide are 3 prompts. Don't know if we'll be able to get through all of them, but there are definitely some good important things to think about. And I'll just run through them very quickly. Like some things to think about: how connected do you currently feel towards Baruch alumni outside of your own sport? Because I know you guys hang out with your old teammates, but what about any other sport that you haven't really spoken to? There are so many more people you can possibly meet. Second one would be, what do you hope to get out of this network? Because we're very open to hearing your thoughts about that. And the last thing is, what is one thing you would like to ask for and one thing you would like to offer? I know it could be tough to ask for help, but really this could be a good way for you to start thinking about, it could either be help with a resume or help for interviewing, or really just asking for honest opinions about what you should be doing with yourself. And we're excited to see and meet every one of you guys. And the whole point of this is to, get to know one another, learn about someone that comes from a different background. And so Greg is helping us organize this. So in a few seconds, you'll get a notification about entering a specific room for you. Once you accept it, you'll be able to see your fellow breakout room Bearcats. And we'll give you guys about 8 to 10 minutes to talk to each other.
Yeah, thank you, Yi. I'm going to send everyone to breakout rooms. Accept the invitation to go to the breakout room. We're going to have 4 to 5 people in every room, a great opportunity to meet some of your fellow Bearcats, fellow alumni. Learn a little bit about the people you're speaking with, and then we'll reconvene back in the main room in 8 to 10 minutes to close things out. So I'm going to send you guys over there right now. And I'll if you have any technical difficulties, you can leave the room and chat with me in the main room, and I'll see if I can figure it out. But for now, I'm going to send you to the rooms.
Awesome.
Make sure to accept the invitations.
You want to go outside? I go outside.
Did everybody get an invite? Okay.
So everyone's in a room.
Just about everybody. I think Anthony is not in a room.
Okay.
Would you like to join, Anthony?
Sharing my screen to get an invite?
Oh, I don't know. I did have you on the list. It says not joined. You might not have seen the pop-up that said to join. So maybe if you stop sharing screen, you'll see it now. Let me try it again.
I see it.
You see it? Okay, great.
All right, I will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
All right, I'm gonna reshare my screen, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Hopefully that all went smoothly with the tech and everything. We've done breakout rooms for a few of our events, and they seem to work pretty well.
Good. That group was pretty well. That was fun. Let me just share my screen again. As Marlon returns back.
There he is.
Cool. Is everyone back from their rooms?
Everyone's back.
Amazing. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed your groups and got to meet someone new. And yeah, I had fun in my group. How's your group?
Probably awesome. Best group out there, probably.
Okay.
It's not my fault.
All right. Well, amazing. And I know we're running just a couple minutes over time. I don't know if we want to take a couple of questions. If anyone has, feel free to drop in the comments. But even if we don't get to your questions, know that we'll be recording all of this and we'll be compiling all of these questions and feedback and getting back to you guys on that. So I don't know if I can view my comment section while sharing my screen though.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, no worries. If anyone has any questions or comments, definitely post in the chat. when is the next event we got? Yeah, that's right.
That's amazing.
People are already thinking about the next one.
Well, first, I hope you guys like this one. We do intend on planning at least one more event before the end of the year, but more to come there. And in regards to Heather's question there, that is where we encourage you guys to please fill out the Google form. Greg, I hope you don't mind resharing that to the group, because
I'll share that again, yeah.
once you guys fill that out, we will have your emails, and it'll be a lot more easier to connect with you guys and keep you guys posted on when we have events coming up. And you know, it's just, if you guys just want to chat with us, let us know what you thought about this event, what you would like to see. We are open to everything. And honestly, this network is not going to grow without each and every single one of you. So the amount of dedication that me and Marlon are putting in, we would love to see the same from everybody here, because I know we're all equally passionate about what we do and our teammates. And like Hedda said in the beginning, once a Bearcat, you are always a Bearcat. And I am here for all of you guys. So is Marlon. So is the rest of the faculty here that have helped us.
And as Heather points out, you know, she says ambassadors in the chat. We invite all of our alumni who want to be ambassadors for us in this group to go out and spread the word, get your former teammates to get involved, join the LinkedIn group, which is growing and is already pretty large with a couple of hundred people in there. So keep that growing. This is only the beginning, and we hope to have more events like this. And in the fall too, the Alumni Relations Office is hoping to kick off some more formalized mentoring between alum to alum. That includes athletics and beyond athletics as well. So keep an eye out for that. And there's just lots of different things we're trying to experiment with during this new sort of this new normal that we're under. But I think that the digital platform is enabling us to try a lot of new things and keep people connected in a variety of other ways. So it's actually been really interesting and productive time for all of us.
Yes, thank you, Greg. Totally agree. And with that, we are also totally open to anyone who would like to help us out. I know we're balancing our jobs and like family and planning this. So along with ambassadors, if anyone would like to volunteer their time, we are more than open to forming together some sort of committee and get these events rolling and get this network going, because I think there's a lot of room to grow here and the opportunities for us are endless here. Do you have any other remarks?
I'm just so happy that all of you were able to join us today. And honestly, like leading up to the event, I was like, or especially Yi, she was like, I really hope people show up. Oh my God, all day today. She's like, I'm so nervous. Well, I think this was great. And I'd really like to thank our panelists again for participating and giving like such valuable insight. I love the breakout room. I love just like talking, chatting, even if it's somebody you already know. I think it's great to just kind of be in a different environment. And if there's anything that you took away from our this meeting today, then that's awesome. So once again, thank you guys so much. And yeah, I think our time's up.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Heather, any final words?
None. I think this was an excellent opportunity for connections, like I started out, and looking forward to future connections.
Thank you, everyone. We'll follow up with with some more information. We'll send out some of those links that I was sharing. We'll send out a recording of this event as well. And definitely join the LinkedIn group, spread the word, tell your former teammates and friends. We want to make this network grow. And just thank you so much to everyone for being such a great audience.
Thank you guys so much. We are here if you ever want to reach out.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.